his birth mom was holding him, and she just said, "Would you like to hold him?" And so I held him. He looked up at me with just this look of like, "It's gonna be okay. I'm gonna be okay." He closed his eyes and he just kind of nestled in. And it's amazing, in April, Bryce turned 21, so that was like 21 years ago, and that moment is just like still so fresh and so there, and it was such a gift to be there from the moment he took that first breath and to just hold him and just embrace that moment, because when you learn a child's not going to come from your womb and you want to be a mom, there's just this deepness in your heart that's just almost like a void. And it was like at that moment, and holding him, it was just like a peace within my heart of something that, had it not been for Catholic Charities, I would not have had.
I grew up in a family where I was the youngest of 11, so grew up with lots of noise and lots of siblings, and so I did always envision that I was going to be a mom. And so you kind of have your way of thinking this is how it's going to be, but then sometimes God has different plans for you. I know that even though that had been placed on my heart, that if it wasn't for Catholic Charities, that would not have went from a thought to a reality. Through St. Nicholas of Myra Church in Hayes, our pastor there at the time, Father Bill Surmeyer, was actually a counselor at Catholic Charities in Hayes. And I knew just from different homilies, he had, talked about services of Catholic Charities. And I went to him and kind of just shared with him my heart and my story and talked with him. And next thing I knew, we actually had a call from someone at Catholic Charities, and they asked if we would like to begin the process and find out more. I have to say, going in, I had so many questions, but I was almost I had so many questions I didn't even know what my questions were anymore, because I was just where do I start? What does this look like? And for me, with every next step that Catholic Charities gave, it was oh my gosh, I'm so excited, I'm so excited. And you grow through that. But the staff was just amazing for answering questions, for giving the next step, then for calling and being kind of how are you doing, with your home study? How are you doing with, your next step? And just was really there every step of the way. So got a call one day from Catholic Charities in Hayes, and they said, someone in Nevada has looked at your profile and is very interested in having you as a birth parent. And so it was oh my gosh, this feeling of wow. The second phone call actually came from Bryce's birth mom one evening, and was overwhelmed when she called and reached out to us and, said, I've looked at your guys' profile and I've seen this and and she said, I just feel like this is where my child's to be. And I remember that night, we shared some laughs, we shared some tears, and I just was overwhelmed. She actually kept us informed through all of this time, and so my hope was to be there at the time of him being born. They had kind of just a visitor spot there. So paced up and down in front of the door where I knew he was being born. Got up and paced, would get up and pace. And then happened to be right outside the door
and heard his first cry. I was like, oh, there's that cry and so much emotion.
It's been a blessing and an honor to be your son, and I hope you know that. I know she's done more for me than I will probably ever really know. I'm very thankful for that. I'm thankful that she was part of the whole adoption process and gave me a second chance at life, and kind of gave me a lot of moments and experiences throughout my entire life that I'll look back on and cherish forever.
The process of adoption is, it's a beautiful, beautiful process, and it's a process of something that needs to happen and people need to be open to, because they can make a difference. Whether you adopt someone at birth, or whether there's kids who are 5 years old or 12 years old, or they need family and they need love and they need what adoption can give.